Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 2 of the Mousetrap podcast. Some people thought that this would never come out. They thought it might be one and done, but we're here. A lot going on in the NBA right now, but we're not talking about that because we have a better league to talk about. It's called F It We Ball. I'm Carter Thweet, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host Isaac Hardy. Isaac, how we doing?
Hi guys, how's it going? Good to be here. Good to be here.
As always, we got a great episode tonight. Maybe like it might not sound like a lot when we talk about it, but I think it's actually going to be a lot of good content. So let's just go ahead and jump in.
All right.
We have agendas. This is new. This is a picture of me proclaiming the agenda that I put in. Again, doesn't look like a whole lot, but I think this is going to be exciting. Obviously, it's trade season. If you've been following the league, a lot to talk about there. I think we're going to talk to the guy who is the talk of the league right now. More on that later. We're going to talk a little bit about taxi squads. It's a concept some people are interested in. And then a little sneak peek of what we think could be our greatest episode yet. Not that this one won't be great, but a little sneak peek of that. Isaac, anything to add before we jump in?
I'm looking forward to our live interview. Honestly, excited to have him on the show. I know he's been wanting to come on here for at least one episode. So,
Yeah. Appreciate you not spoiling it. I think it's gonna be really
oh,
good.
you know.
All right. So I want to look at this before we look at trades. I just thought this was interesting, and I tried to minimize me and Isaac's faces, get them out of the way. So hopefully that worked. But by the numbers, just before we get into the trades themselves, you guys can read it. In the past 4 days, we're recording this on June 30th. You may watch it the next day. But there have been 11 trades over 4 days, eight teams, 8 out of 12, good participation from everyone, involving 22 players and 16 picks. Isaac, what stands out? Any of those numbers surprise you?
What interests me is the quantity of picks being traded, as well as the four teams that aren't involved. And I feel pretty confident I can name them off the top of my head. It's going to be Grant, who's tanking, very content with his team. Evan, of course, tanking as well. Nixon, who I don't know if he's open sleeper in the last 3 months. And Chitty, who I don't know if he's looked at this group chat in the last 3 months. So
I think you have it. I know I checked for myself. I was trying to figure out if Nixon has ever made a transaction. I really don't think he has in this whole league. Um, sorry, I just got a text. I'm sorry. That's bad
yeah,
form, bad podcasting.
no, hey, I will say this for Nixon. I was kind of getting there. Actually, I had some trade discussions with him here today. So he is involved with the league. He is following what's going on.
Who's he? Who are you talking about?
Nixon.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, and definitely Nixon and Evan. I checked, and I think you're right about Grant and Chitty as
I've
well.
spoken with Grant, yeah, about trades as well and Shitty as well. So
Okay,
just
okay.
joking. They are involved. They are involved, but
That's good to
just
hear.
thought I'd
That's good to hear.
tease them.
But we're not talking about the teams that haven't traded. We're talking about the teams that are. So let's get right to it. We're going to go back in time a little bit. First, a quick look back at last year. We'll go through this quick. I think there was 10 trades all of last year. And like I said, there's been 11 in the last 4 days. So we've gotten much more active. Just keep this in mind. The first trade in league history, this was number two. Any guesses as to the first one?
TJ and Grant swapping their first round picks.
That's exactly right. And this was the second one under the radar. Austin and Tucker swap first round picks. Just keep this in mind. This is going to be key here later on.
I will just want to say I remember watching this, seeing this live. Not this, thought this was one of the nicest things I've ever seen. Where Tucker willingly traded back Luca, second overall pick, because he knew it was Austin's favorite player, and didn't ask for any extra compensation. No first, no nothing. Um,
I was not aware of that. This was Tucker knew where his pick was.
Was it? I believe this was after the draft or something. Whenever Austin wanted Luca and Tucker willingly gave him up for Shea, and it was like because it's Austin's favorite player. I could be mistaken, but
I don't know.
I
I
think
feel
that was the
like then
thing
it
that
would
occurred.
say. I feel like it would say Luca for Shea and not first for first. But I don't know. We
Well,
can.
I think it was before, but yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, this one not super fascinating, but I did just think it was kind of interesting. Maybe something to ask Logan about because Hartenstein probably puts up better numbers now. Obviously, McCain has the brighter future, and Grant also got the first round pick. So I was just a little confused at this from Logan's perspective. Not league.
Hartenstein he is a fantasy monster. He was a monster last year. I believe he was top 40, top 50 player for sure. And it seems like the value of first round picks have gone up. At the time, this didn't seem like a stretch, but now considering first rounders can grab you top 10, top 15 overall players, it seems really like a poor move by Logan, I believe.
Yeah, that may be lack of ball knowledge for me. I knew Hartenstein was fine. Didn't know he's top 50. So that's
Yeah,
interesting
he,
for
he
sure.
he was a hooper. He was a hooper.
Logan made 2 extremely complicated trades. I think maybe you had a chance to look these over. Is there
I
anything
did. I
you really
did.
want to say or just You
One
got?
thing interesting here. It's tough to separate fantasy from real life in terms of who's really good in real life versus good in fantasy. An example might be Mikal Bridges. IRL, he's a guy you want in your squad, really solid, but he doesn't put very many rebounds, very many assists. He's a good defender, but he doesn't get a lot of stock. So in fantasy, he's really not as valuable as a guy like Josh Hart, who you wouldn't consider to be as good, but who is in fact a fantasy demon. So I actually really like Logan here. Josh Hart, probably the best fantasy asset out of this trade. At least looking at last year, he's just insane player. Gobert, not great in fantasy, not great scorer. Honestly, kind of a poor rebounder for his size. And of course, Austin later moves off of Abdiha. Jaylen Brown here is good, but again, not a fantasy stud, more of a scorer, lacks the rebounding and assist numbers to really make him elite. So I really like what Logan did here. I think Logan came away with the better deal.
Yeah, obviously, I think Josh Hart had a not great playoffs. We'll see how this one plays out, but certainly was helpful.
Playoffs aren't in fantasy, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, I wonder if his role will be smaller. This was another Logan trade. I think some bigger names in this one, and we're going to see Donovan Mitchell become more
If
relevant
I
here
may just look
in just
really
a
quickly
second.
here. So it looks like this would have come before the other one, and Logan immediately rerouted Jaylen Brown to Austin.
I was trying to figure out the order, and I was really struggling here. It was hard to
Yeah,
see
no, you're good.
in
You're
sleep.
good.
Any
Um,
any thoughts on this one?
Again, considering the value we're placing on first, I mean, now we know Logan's is the 111, so maybe not as valuable, but getting two firsts there seems to be really valuable. I don't love Pritchard. He's solid in real life, not great in fantasy. DiVincenzo, same thing. But Jimmy has a chance if he plays full season to be a really elite fantasy stud. And I love the two firsts. I think Charlie's collecting some firsts. He's really got a bright future here. So I do like Charlie here, but I think it's pretty even.
Okay. So this next one's the big one. This is like the whole reason I wanted to look back at last year. If we can go ahead and look at the next slide here. So if you'll remember, Tucker, we're not exactly sure how it happened, I guess, but Tucker had the second pick, gave it to Austin or gave Luca to Austin for Shea, who was the fifth pick. Okay, so Tucker has Shea. He then reroutes him to Logan for LeBron, Donovan Mitchell, Hawkes, and a second round pick. Okay, so Tucker could have had Luca. He traded first with Austin. I thought he was just hoping for luck. You say he was trying to be nice. Either way, this is the trade they make. Aust- I can't talk. Tucker gets Donovan Mitchell and LeBron. Go to the championship from last season.
Yeah.
Austin's team wins, and I didn't scroll down and look at LeBron, but if you look here, Luca had 40, and I think that was his first game. He may have even done better in a future game that week. And Donovan Mitchell had 18. And so obviously I know there's a lot you can look at. If Tucker didn't trade Luca, then who knows what trades would or wouldn't have been made. He wouldn't have LeBron. But ultimately, Tucker could have had Luca. He gave him to Austin, ended up through a series of trades getting Donovan Mitchell, and it cost him in the championship. And I just thought that was really interesting that this trade of first round picks ended up really mattering.
That is really interesting. I will say though, Tucker, again, this feels kind of like a kindness trait, giving a certain player or a certain person's favorite player. But Tucker's team right now is looking mighty stacked. So it feels like karma's working out for the Jaguar here. And this is a championship, but a championship in our first season where there's no money on it. So what do you get? Bragging rights? I feel like honestly, Tucker is setting himself up really well for the money buy-in seasons.
Yeah, I definitely like. I don't think the Shea trade was unfair at all. I think Tucker got a good return. Like obviously
Yep,
LeBron, Donovan Mitchell.
Bron's a
It's just
monster.
interesting that he made some very pivotal trades that ended up affecting the championship. But like you said, no money, no harm, no foul.
Right. Yeah. And we'll see what he actually reroutes Donovan Mitchell for a couple of studs here later on. But
Yeah. So our faces might be covering it. This says not from the past 4 days, but figured I'd throw it in. This was the only trade of this season, not in the past 4 days. Not a huge deal. I traded Vucevic. He's old, but he'll put up numbers from Logan. I got two
he
second round
he
picks.
was a beast in fantasy, yeah. But second, I mean, again, picks seem to be mighty valuable this offseason. And 2 seconds, that's some capital right there.
Yeah. This one, I wasn't really sure what to make of this. I don't think I love it for Drake. I don't know I mean, Ivy's a good player. Obviously, the first rounders are pretty valuable. And like I said, I don't know exactly how good Drake's going to be, but regardless, you're getting a really good talent. I don't know. What'd you think?
I don't love it. Again, Jaden Ivey, kind of a score first guard. Scoring does give you points in fantasy, but he's never going to touch Cade. He's going to always have kind of a ceiling because of Cade there. And a 2027 first, I mean, that's years down the road. You never know what could happen. Trading the other way, Jaden Ivey, he's not a superstar. He's not going to be a game changer for, again, what we've seen first rounders being traded for. It just feels maybe like Drake could have gotten just a little bit more out of this trade.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan for him either. This one I do not care about. Ty Jerome went to Memphis today, so maybe that hurts Anthony, but feels like a nothing.
I heard they're thinking of buying him out or rerouting Cole Anthony to somewhere else. So yeah, it seems kind of like a nothing. Grant gets a third. I like it for Grant. This is a waiver wire guy that he got a third round pick out of. Love it.
Fair enough. This one, I know you want to talk about this one because this is
I
you. I
do.
say if I can give my 10-second thing, I actually really like this for you. Giddy puts up numbers at the point guard spot, and he's only 22. And there's no guarantee you're going to get a guy who puts up those same numbers. I think you're getting 10 years of really good point guard play, but I want to hear your rationale here.
Yeah, I believe in terms of how I value these assets, I came out on top here because you never know what you're going to get at the 104. And Neesmith, again, he's a solid real life player, not a great fantasy player. But considering, again, what first rounders have been going for, I'm starting to think, with a 104, I might have been able to get the Karl Anthony Towns or Trae Young for the way these guys are being traded. So, and those guys certainly have more value than Giddy. But I like it for me. Giddy averages almost triple double over the last 2 months of the season, which is insane in fantasy. So I'm really hopeful for what he can do for my team next year.
Yeah, it'll depend really on, Neesmith's not a huge asset. It'll depend what Charlie who he gets with that
Exactly.
104.
Exactly. Yeah.
We made this
Also,
trade, so kind of weird for us to analyze this. You reached out about Franz, and I was fine with it, if I could get multiple assets. Really depending on like Sar and Kaminga kind of flyers. I didn't feel great about making this trade, but hopefully the combined assets will be good for me.
yeah, no, I think it's Kaminga certainly has a lot of upside if he gets out of Golden State. If he ends up somewhere where they just let him loose, he's going to be a 28-4 type of guy. He's going to put up crazy fantasy numbers. Just if he lets go, if the Warriors hold on to him, then he's not going to do much. For me, a lot of the impetus on some of these trades I was making was over the offseason, some of my players' positions changed. Guys who are power forward center became center. Guys who are point guard shooting guard became point guard. And I realized I have too many centers and too many guards and really no wings. So I started scouring the market for wings, and I found Franz and reached out to you about them. Giving up Sar Hurts, 20 years old, really high defensive potential with rebounds and blocks that could really up his fantasy value, and kind of a Washington Wizards franchise that's starting to look like they might be making some moves here. So I honestly think Sar is the best player of this deal. Centers are the most valuable position in fantasy of the way our league is set up. So yeah, I think it's high risk for you, a high reward, whereas I get a more solid young asset who fits my team.
Yeah, and yeah, Franz having three positions is very valuable. Yeah, I noticed that.
Very, very.
Levine used to be small forward, now he's point guard, shooting guard. So some weird
Yeah,
change.
I'm curious what's the deal with that because I mean it really can mess up team construction if a guy that you maybe trade for to play a certain position now can't. It really kind of
Yeah,
seems.
I don't think Logan did that, but I think that could be a
I
commissioner
don't think so
question.
either. I think it's automatic, but it is frustrating.
Yeah. This
Also,
one,
me,
I loved this. You're making a lot of trades. I loved
I
this
am.
for you. I think like Kobe White, like you say, a scoring guard, fine, whatever. I think Avdija just has way more potential. He puts up numbers for this Portland team, and I don't think the gap in picks is that crazy to make up for, I think, him being a much better fantasy asset. Don't know if you have any
Right.
other thoughts.
Yeah, again, playing the wing position, I realized I had absence at, and obviously how I really liked him, how he finished last season with this kind of new look Portland Trailblazers that we saw over the last kind of couple months of the season. Again, rebound assist guy at the forward position. I think he has really high upside. Kobe White, solid player. He was never really doing it for me. I like kind of a change of pace here.
Yeah, Avdija often confused for Donovan Clingan. The real ones will know.
Also pronounced Abdija by some people.
Interesting. This was one where I felt like I was kind of in the minority. I think I liked this for Charlie, and I felt like most people didn't. Are you in a
Hmm.
particular camp on this one?
I got to be honest, I'm a little confused about Charlie's direction. Building a team around Banchero, Brandon Miller. He's got all of these first round draft picks and then trading for an old guy. I feel like if he's moving off Jamal and Collins, go young, commit to one timeline. I don't think he's really in a position to compete. So trading for a Donovan Mitchell seems odd here. But Donovan is a stud, and the Cavs are going to be back. Donovan Mitchell puts up numbers. He is that type of guy. So I like it, but I really do like it for Crom. Just getting multiple high value starters in this league is really beneficial. And I like Jamal Murray with this new look Nuggets team. If he can get healthy with Cam Johnson, I think he's going to have kind of a bounce back season.
Yeah,
So I think it's pretty fair. I'm just confused with Charlie's franchise direction.
I'm also confused what Charlie's doing. I think Mitchell is a stud, and I'll be honest, I don't know the most about John Collins' fantasy numbers, but I am also confused about Charlie. More on that coming up on a future slide.
Yep.
Hey, here
Listen,
it is. Said future slide. Welcome. Austin told me he was going to drop Jose Alvarado if this trade didn't go through. Why you would want Jose Alvarado? Like a third round pick isn't much, but again, like yeah, Charlie, you're a young team. Why are you trading for Jose Alvarado? I know this is pretty much
Also,
a thing trade, but come on.
also considering they drafted Jeremiah Fears, traded for Jordan Poole, Alvarado may not see playing time in a lot of
Yeah,
games.
this was baffling to me. This was
Yeah, it
baffling.
seems. Yeah, again feels like a waiver wire guy you could have grabbed, but instead you gave up a third for him. Just
Yeah,
questionable.
yeah. And similar thing here. I see the logic with this one just because Chris Paul will put up better numbers, but Chris Paul is 40. I don't think Charlie's winning a championship this year, so I'm just a little confused about this. Again, Terrence Mann is whatever, but I was
Yeah,
happy to get a third out of this. I'm not winning it all this year, so Chris Paul doesn't do
honestly, I
anything.
don't hate Terrence Mann. Brooklyn is going to be running to whoever offense, just whoever wants the ball can have it. And you never know. He might, he played well for the Clippers a few years ago. Maybe given a larger role, he might be able to do something similar
Yeah,
again.
better
At
than
least
better than
one
maybe
night a
the
week.
Bucks for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
This was a big one. This was actually one you told me I should reach out on. You told me I should start the Achilles rehab
I
facility.
did.
And I
Did.
really like it. I TJ said he hates Tatum, which is interesting. I don't know if it's just because of the injury or if he thinks he's corny, but he said he was happy to move off him. It's funny that we were talking about Kaminga earlier, like he was still on my team. But yeah, he's getting passed around, like you said. Tatum's a fantasy stud. If he can come back, he's been the number one guy at his position for years. So I was willing to give up a first for it, but we will see what Kaminga becomes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tatum. I get the off years is tough to stomach, but he's still what 26, 27. He's not that old, and his game isn't super built on athleticism. It's built on size, and that's something he's not going to lose even if he comes back a step slower. Good passer, good rebounder. I think Tatum, even if he comes back not full version of himself, is still going to be an elite fantasy asset. For one first round pick in the year, you'll get Tatum back. Just seems really questionable here, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't want to give up 2026. TJ again making moves, getting young talent, stockpiling picks, trades Carl Anthony Towns to Tucker, who we both say we like Tucker's team. What do you think here?
I'm honestly kind of high on Buzelis. I like him. I think the Bulls like him. I think he has the opportunity to do a lot there. I think he's the interesting prospect. Casey Wallace, again, real life, great player. Fantasy, not great. He doesn't score a lot. He's not going to get very many minutes with Caruso and Shea and Dort and all these other Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, all these other guys on the Thunder. He'll get 15, 20 minutes, not enough to put up fantasy numbers. And Tucker's 2026 first. I mean, Tucker's team, he's going to finish top four easily. It's not a very high first round pick for Cat, who was a top 10 fantasy player, and he's only 29. I get he's a little older, but he's still got a good 3, 4, 5 years left. The fact that this trade went down while I was driving, and he was never put up on the trade market, never made available in some way for multiple people to bid, is questionable to me. I feel like he's certainly worth two, maybe even three first round picks here. So only getting one in Buzella seems honestly like highway robbery from Tucker.
Yeah, I like Buzelis a lot. I still don't think I call this a fair trade. And yeah, TJ could have shopped him around a little bit.
Yeah, I just want to. I reached out to Grant earlier about Jaren Jackson Jr., and I was told the price was three firsts. And Jaren Jackson's maybe a top 30 player, only a couple years younger than Cat. So Cat going for one first really blows my mind. Whenever I think three firsts for a JJJ type player seems valid. So maybe I'm undervaluing first round picks, but I think this is a very interesting trade.
Yeah. And then I think we have one more from TJ. More stockpiling. I I don't think I love it for TJ. Again, like I'm fine with what he's doing. He's stockpiling a lot, but like Lou Dort probably is never going to be a great fantasy asset. And again, this is Austin's first round pick. It's not going to be that great.
Right. And yeah, Dort, not a fantasy guy. These picks are good, but I also feel like tanking it, and especially in this league, you can do while having good players on your team. You could have just put these guys on the bench, not played them, put them on the fantasy trade market, seen what he got, while still at the same time losing. I think Trae Young is going to look great next year with this new look Hawks. I think his value is going to only go up again. Could have gotten multiple first round picks out of him. I would have given two for Trae Young. I would have given two for Cat. So the fact that this wasn't even mentioned anywhere for other people to bid is really surprising to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds like TJ needs to start reaching out to you and because you'll put up some good offers. And Austin, defending champion, he only gets better. Excited to see what he does next year,
yeah,
obviously.
for sure, for sure.
So obviously TJ is making some moves, and we have an exciting moment here now. I'm gonna call him up, and I believe he is available to explain the new look direction of his team. Some are saying he's gonna be tanking next year. It sure looks like that's what he's gonna do. And we are about to have live on the mousetrap, TJ, D player. TJ, you were live to tape on the Mousetrap podcast. Are you there? I know. Yeah, shocking. Well, I actually told
Can
people
you turn them up? Can't hear him.
you were here and ready. I cannot. TJ, can you say something? See if my co-host can hear you.
Can you hear me, Isaac? Check, check, check.
I can hear him now.
All right, I held it closer to the computer. First time doing this, first live interview in Mousetrap history. And TJ, we just want to ask you a couple questions. We went through all the trades, 11 in the past 4 days, and you're probably the most interesting. Before we talk about why you did what you did, I just want to ask how this happened. When did you decide that you wanted, stockpiling assets to kind of be your new direction?
So really, I've just been thinking really heavily on what to do with Tatum after his injury. He was already a player that I kind of begrudgingly got. He was the best on the board during the draft when it got to me. Not a big Tatum fan. So this was kind of the best shot to get rid of him. And he was kind of my star player, so I decided why not let it fly? Let's just do the opposite of the other
Good move.
league I'm in.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I guess I want to ask, and Isaac, were you able to hear him okay on that answer?
Yeah, I was able to hear that. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. So then, I asked the how, the process. I want to ask the why. I mean, you kind of just got into it, but with the trades you made, why did you think this is the right move? What do you ultimately think it's going to lead to? Just kind of walk us through the rationale for blowing it up.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking just to go player by player a little bit. Tatum most likely going to be out of the year. I'm not winning with a team without Tatum. Cat's 30 now. By the time Tatum's back, he'll be 32. I got a few young guys, like Trey's not too old, but I figure if I'm not going to win in the next 2-3 years, I might as well really invest in my future. That was kind of my mindset there.
Makes sense. And yeah, it doesn't feel like, with Tatum out, you're necessarily going to win the championship. So I see the rationale. I'll say I love what you got going on, even if I don't agree with every individual trade. I've got a lot of assets in our fantasy football league, and it's a ton of fun. You can do a whole lot. So I think the direction is good. Before we let him go, Isaac, anything you want to ask TJ?
Teach, I was just wondering why today. I feel like these players could have been available to trade for the next couple months. What made you so urgent to make the trade on June 29th?
Uh, once once that avalanche starts, it's hard to stop it.
Man, this is a man
That's
of
true.
catchphrases. Why not let it fly? Talking about avalanches. TJ, I'm sure we will have you on another time. Appreciate you coming on and breaking down your rationale for us. You are definitely the most interesting team in the league right now, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Appreciate you guys.
See ya. All right, so there you have it, TJ. The one thing I did think was interesting was when he said something along the lines of this felt like the best time to get rid of Tatum. I see it in the sense that, like, yeah, he's hurt, but obviously his trade value is going to be higher when he's playing. So I thought that was
Right.
interesting. But overall, he has the most picks in the league. We'll see what he does with it.
That's true. That's true.
Yep. Moving on from trade season, we're getting into the home stretch here. Just a few little tidbits we wanted to throw in. We wanted to talk a little bit about taxi squads. I'm really proud of this slide. I think this might be my magnum opus of slides here. Essentially, what the taxi squad is, and this is just the case for it. Some people might disagree, and ultimately, I think it really only matters what Logan thinks. But the taxi squad, I'm not saying that like he's a dictator, just like he's commissioner.
Yeah,
Uh,
we've outvoted him before. We can outvote.
yeah, fair enough. I don't remember what all, if we have democracy in which league or what. I don't know.
Mm.
Basically, what the taxi squad is, it's a place for young guys who you don't necessarily think are going to contribute right away, but it's like, hey, let's stash them and let's see. So you can put your rookies on the taxi squad. And Isaac, correct me if any of this is wrong. You
Right.
put your rookies on the taxi squad before the first game starts. You can keep them there for 2 years. If you ever move them off the taxi squad, you can't move them back, but you can keep rookies there for 2 years. And so essentially what this does is it allows you, if you draft a guy in like the third round, let's say, and you're like, yeah, he's not like necessarily going to play this year. He might be G League, but hey, he could be good one day. You stash him there, you wait 2 years, and you see what happens. There's a couple of good things about this. Isaac, you made a point about third round picks earlier that I hadn't even necessarily thought about. Are you prepared to kind of bring that forward?
Right, yeah, I think it's actually fitting that we're on this slide right here. For example, take a Nikola Jokic, right, drafted during a Taco Bell commercial in the second round. If we were in this dynasty league at that time, likely he's getting grabbed in the third round if he's getting grabbed at all. And you would hate a team, say like a Charlie's team, who's got multiple, probably six picks coming up in this draft, to feel like he can't hold on to this player that he likes simply because he lacks the roster spots. And so you want to give opportunity for someone to take kind of those guesses, take those leaps with these sort of hidden gems that they trust, that they like, that they've done their research on, and not feel like they have to give up real valuable minutes on the roster to hold on to a guy like that they think is valuable that maybe isn't valuable to others.
Yeah, I purposely picked these two guys. Let's say for Jokic, he would have been a third round pick. I'm not sure that's the case because he was drafted like 43rd, but let's say someone takes Jokic in the third round. Right now, as I'm thinking about my third round picks, like you said, I'm not even sure I necessarily want these guys. Like depending where you are in the third round, you could be getting a guy who was second round in real life. He might spend time in the G League. It's like, do I really want to cut someone for this guy?
Right,
If we have a taxi squad where we can stash these guys, then I feel like third round picks actually start to mean something, and that round will feel less meaningless. And then a guy like
right.
Austin Reeves, undrafted in real life, would not have sniffed a 3 round rookie draft. And one thing that was really fun in our football league, let's say the rookie draft ended on Thursday in our dynasty football league. The waivers went through on Sunday. And so for 3 days, it was guys like deciding how much they want to bid on all these guys who didn't go in the rookie draft. So if there's like a fourth round tight end you really like he didn't go in the rookie draft, I'd still like to have him, then you're putting bids down. If there's no taxi squad, that's not happening because you don't have the room for those guys, for the Austin Reeves who you think, hey, what the heck, I'll take a flyer on this guy. And so it makes the third round matter more. It can create some really interesting waiver situations right after the draft. And I think it would just give, guys like Jokic and Austin Reeves the chance to be picked up through the draft or through being bid on in the waivers instead of just nobody wants them and then one day someone randomly picks them up and that's it. I feel like there should be more of something real with this, and the taxi squad gives you that chance.
Right. You don't want someone to grab the next Jokic or next Draymond Green, next Austin Reeves because they happen to be watching a game on League Pass and they picked them up on the waivers. You want someone to kind of do the scouting to value a third round pick and be able to pick them up in that way and then keep them on their team if they consider them valuable.
Yeah, so it just makes these, young second round undrafted guys more valuable. I think it'd be a good idea. But Mr. Commissioner, if you're watching this, it's probably up to you. Feel free to reach out. We're wrapping up here. I just want to do this real quick, a little sneak peek. And again, I hope me and Isaac aren't covering this up. If we are, it says coming soon, our greatest work yet. I don't know if this is going to be episode 3. I don't know what episode this will be, but this is coming and we want you guys to be prepared for it.
Pause.
It's going to be the state of the entire basketball league, looking at every single team. I know I did these bullet points one by one, so I'm not exactly sure what all of them say, but we're going to go through team by team. We're going to see what everyone's situation is, right? Are they contending? Are they tanking? Are they a total dumpster fire with no hope whatsoever? We're going to go through every single team. And the thing I'm really excited about, I can't remember if this is next bullet point or the one after it, but we are going to be doing real life NBA team comparison, seeing who you equate to in the real NBA based on your current situation. I think it's going to be really fun to really go through and look at everyone's teams, maybe get some light roasts in. I think it'll be a good time. Stay tuned.
I'm excited. I'm
I'm
excited.
excited. I think that'll be a good one. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to do it, but that is coming. Probably some more live interviews if we really roast someone's team, obviously,
For
give them
sure.
a
For
chance to
sure.
respond. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. Isaac, before we go, anything else for this episode of the Mousetrap Podcast?
No, I would recommend everyone to consider how much they value their first round draft picks because there seems to be some inconsistency across the league, which is making trades very variable.
And maybe reach out to other teams and let people know guys are available before you just trade with
Oh,
them.
certainly. Throw a player on the trade block. No need to make trades tonight.
Yeah. But I appreciate all the activity. Like we said, more trades in the past 4 days than in like the rest of the league. It's a good time to be an F It We Ball. Thank you so much for watching the Mousetrap Podcast, and we will see you guys in the next one.